We are live, madam.
Okay, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all the participants. I am CMA Pragya from the Text Research Department. I welcome you all to our webinar on the topic how to handle time-barred service text demand appeals before appellate authorities. Our guest facilitator for the session is CMA Niranjan sir, who has generously agreed to share his expertise with us. CMA Niranjan sir is a graduate in Commerce and Law, a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He is having experience in both corporate sectors, autonomous bodies, government departments in various capacities. To his credit, he has 34 years of rich experience in different areas, which includes financial, treasury management, project financing, control management, taxation, internal audit, internal control, budgetary control, cost management, and control, Ind-AS, and implementation of various policies in the organization. He was in position of Senior General Manager Finance in Orissa Power Generation Corporation Limited. After retirement, he is in full-time practice as an advocate and tax consultant. Let us all take advantage of this opportunity to grow and learn together. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everybody. Actually, before starting, I wanted to inform you that everybody may be in the uh, mind why we have chosen this topic for today discussion. Friends, you may be knowing that during the pre-COVID period and during COVID period and post-COVID period, department has issued a number of notices to the service providers and based upon the third party data, based upon the less scrutiny, I will tell the number of cases taken off from the scrutiny is very less, but most of the cases are based upon the third party data. And in many cases, the service providers or the registered persons have not received the notices. Even also they have not issued many cases also the adjudication orders, demand orders. When the demand notices has come, recovery proceedings started. Few cases also it was found that there are number of demand has been issued and people prefer to go for the first appellate authority and then subsequently the second appellate authority. And the matter, the number of cases are huge and it is in the stage of commission appeal. It is also in the stage of SESTAT, Central Excise Service Tax Appellate Tribunal, Customs and Service Tax Central Excise and Service Tax Tribunal, and the regional benches are adjudicating or the going for the hearing. Friends, you may be knowing that actually SESTAT was flooded with or the number of cases of the service tax, central excise, customs are also taken off. To my understanding, since I am appearing also in the eastern region, so the the speed at which they are disposing was commendable. Actually, one can appreciate. But the question here is when there is a time bar case and the demand has been raised, many cases the assessee has not given opportunity to appear before the adjudicating during the investigation, even also during the adjudication stages. Even also many cases they are not in a position to appear in the first appellate authority, that's why appeal pending with the second appellate authority. So in that case, either at the first appellate authority or at the second appellate authority, what are the grounds one can take to protect the interest of its client or themselves? I do not have an idea how many persons from our profession are in the undertaking the service tax appeals, but those who are present here, but in comparison to my previous webinar, the number seems to be less. But definitely today discussion will give one input. It will not only help for the taking advancement of the proceedings are pending at different levels, particularly the first appellate authority, second appellate authority, but the same principle one can also adopt in the GST regime. Even if the matter is related to the service tax, which we are going to discuss, but definitely the principle based upon which I am going to substantiate my case, or which I am proposing to go forward before the Appellate Authority, both first and second Appellate Authority. The same thing also can be applied in case of GST regime and when there is a time barred cases. With this background, today just I will take a few minutes, at least 20 minutes, to give an overview of the service tax and including demand. The rest of the time I will go with, or I will take up the what are the circumstances demand has been raised, what are the demand contents, and how to draft the service tax appeals, statement facts, grounds of appeal, and what ground you have to take, which ground you have to take first ground. Usually what happens, so whenever we are going for the normal appeal, we are taking the first ground, merit ground. Merit means I wanted to substantiate in my first ground, second ground, third ground that this is not taxable, or I have already paid it, that should not in demand. So generally we took we taken off. But in this case, since there is a time bar, we will not take the cases merit first. Merit will be taken in the last ground, but we will take the procedural lapses on the part of the department. Non, the notices has been issued, or the demand has been raised, or the appeal has been disposed of by the first appellate authority, or it is pending with second appellate authority, which they have not followed the principle of law, but the decisions of the Supreme Court, non-speaking orders, time barred cases where the third-party data cannot be taken for the raising of the demand. So like this, that ground we can take first, and subsequently we can go for the other grounds or merit grounds. So friends, just quickly I will go. You know that the service tax, the finance service tax is not a separate act. Actually, it was started with the Finance Act 1994, and with three services, and service tax, whatever service tax act we called it, it is nothing but meant for the Finance Act 1994. And it started with three services, and in the 2017 the number of services has increased, crossed I think 130 around, it crossed, it reached, and not only the number of services brought to the ambit of service tax by way of amendment to the Finance Act 1994, but also the scope of number of services also expanded. So vertically and horizontally we can say the scope has been increased, and a substantial amount of revenue also collected by the government, and the service tax is subsumed as part of the GST. And up to 30th June 2017 the act was in force. So whatever demand has been raised or the adjudication taking place, all are related to up to 30th June 2017. Friends, for your kind information, just I am telling, to my understanding, the tribunals, appellate forums are undertaking now most of the service tax demand, particularly I am talking first appellate authority, they are taking up the service tax demand appeals, may be related to 2014, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17 onwards, up to 17, 18, means up to 30th June. But tribunal is taking off even from the 2000 pre-negative list period, even negative list period cases also taken off, in addition to those cases where the early hearing application has been granted by the tribunal. In that case, updated service tax appeals with a huge value of demand also taken up by the tribunal. And service tax is imposed on activity or provision of service. So in the negative list, in the pre-negative list period, the exemption was granted by way of notification, but in the negative list period, it is the declared service and a negative list. So actually three parts it is covered. I am not going to discuss in detail. The taxable service has been defined, is an activity provided by a person to another person for a consideration. So very important point is the service must be an activity. So it has been defined inclusively, and for a consideration, and there must be a service provider, service receiver. So where there is no consideration, zero consideration, or no consideration we can say, then service tax is not imposed. But in case of negative, in case of GST, it is not that. Even if consideration is not there, certain circumstances, the it is taxable under the GST regime. So that is a negative list has been there, 66D, which covers all the almost all items which are earlier exempted by way of individual notification, subsequently by way of mega exemption notification, and subsequently it was covered in the declared services 66D, and having number of subsections. So that is in the negative list. And when I am talking about the service definition, it includes the declared services. Even if it is not service, certain transactions or activities also treated as a service. It includes also was contract and others. And there is a taxable value to be determined as per section 67 and rule 3. Registration is a pre-requirement. Return filing is a compliance, and payment of tax has to be made by 5th or 6th of the next month or quarter, and non-compliance lead to interest penalty and subsequent action for the recovery. And if you do not agree for that, then you will go for the agreed person will go for the appellate forum against the demand. And now question is, when I am talking about the time bar case, actually in the service tax, you may knowing two returns has been filed in the ST3, and it is a half yearly return. The April to 30th September is filed by the 15th October, and in case of your October to March, it is April 15th. So now question is, there is a time limit has been provided. Actually, the time limit for issue of the show cause, if there is a non-compliance in the sense the registered service provider has not paid the service tax or short paid the service tax or availed the credit which they are not eligible for the credit. So in that case, department may go for the issue of the notices. Actually, these notices has to be issued based upon the based upon the investigation, based upon the audit, based upon the department audit, based upon the special audit conducted by the professionals as per the provisions of law. And in the process they can go for the issue of the notices. So now question is, what is the time period of issue of notices? And just I will tell you, there are two occasions are there where the service tax has escaped assessment, or has been under assessed, or has not been paid, or has been short paid. If the assessee is liable to file the return, so in that case return is filed, the date on which return is filed. If return is not filed, the last date of the last date on which the return is required to be filed, so in that case the period will be counted. So if you go to the section 73, 73 empowers the central excise officer. Actually, the central excise officers are looked after the service tax matter. There is no separate service tax department. So wherever there is a now let you take in case of a GST. Similarly, also the same department is undertaking the GST as well as service tax, but there may be internal assignments. So the central excise officer to issue show cause notice where the service tax has not been levied, or it has not been paid, or it is a short levied or short paid, or erroneously refunded, and thereafter to determine the amount of service tax due and payable. It is the same procedure. The show cause notices has to be issued, and the period is counted that the department officer has the power or jurisdiction to issue the show cause notice within 5 years from the from the relevant date. We will go for the discussion what is the relevant date in the right hand side, that again I will repeat. So again I am talking, it is possible only in case of fraud, in case of collision, in case of willful misstatement, in case of suppression of facts, or in case of contravention of any of the provisions of the act rules with an intent to evade the tax. Mark the word, actually with an intent to evade the tax is common. In this slide it is shown in the last one, but you read it as a separate. So that means fraud is one, collusion is one, willful misstatement is one, suppression of fact is one, and contravention of any of the provisions of act or rules, that is one. And all the five cases, the intent should be evade the tax. Even if you are having a fraud, let even also having a collusion, misstatement, suppression of facts, contravention. But many of the cases, if your intent is not to evade the tax, then the also penalty cannot survive. I will in the last part I will discuss some of the Supreme Court judgments where it is substantiated that if intent is not to evade the service tax, then there should not be any penalty. And penalty, generally what happens, the department has the authority to go for issue of the notice within 5 years. That means the show cause notice and orders has to be issued. So show cause notices, the period must be executed, but the demand with the show cause notice has to be issued within 5 years from the relevant date. And the relevant date is counted from the date of filing return. Okay, so due date of filing return. So if the due date is 15th April for filing of the return, so 5 years will be counted from 2000, sorry, from the 15th April. Take one example, 14-15 financial year. So 14-15 financial year, first quarter is April 14 to 30th September 14th. And your filing of return is let to take October 15th. So now what will happen? The 5 years will be counted from the first quarter. Again, I'm talking since two returns has been filed, the 5 years will be counted for each quarter, each half yearly separately. So you can also tell, let in a year, the 6 months may be time barred, 6 months may not be time barred. So that also you should keep in mind. It will not year wise calculated. So in this my example, 1st April 2014 to 30th September 2014, due date is 15th October 2014, and 5 years will be counted from 15th October 2014. That means 19th October, 19th, 15th October, 15th October 2019 is the 5 years is ending. After that, any notices will be issued. It is a time barred notices. And the time bar show not notices, time bar show cause notices. So show cause notice is the last one. There may be investigation. If no show cause, the count of 5 years will be show cause notices. And again, I'm telling, there is also 30 months in other cases when there is no fraud, no collusion, will statement, suppression of facts, contravention of any provisions of act or rules. So if that is not there, the time period has come down to 30 months. Actually, earlier it was 12 months, then it has increased to I think 18 months. Perhaps please check up it in not prior to 2013 or 12, but it is in after that it is 30 months. So any notice will be issued, show cause notice will be issued with a demand and interest and penalty within 30 months. Then it is valid in other cases within 5 years. It must be valid in case of fraud, collusion, etc. But again, I'm telling, department will prove that the demand has been raised by invoking. Actually, we called it as invocation of section 73, that is the extended period of limitation. Okay, so that has been invoked. But if it is invoked in cases where the intent is not to evade the tax, then that case demand may not be confirmed, or it will not stand eyes of the law. Friends, one thing we will discuss subsequently, but one point I am taking into telling you, wherever it was found that the intent is not to evade the tax or all the circumstances, both the circumstances, but there is a merit of the case, it is taxable. So in that case, what happens? The appellate authority impose the confirm the tax, confirm the interest, but not the penalty. And again, I am talking interest is limited to only 1 year. And let 14-15, let the show cause notices has been issued by way of invocation of section 73, that is the extended period of limitation. And assume there is no fraud. So the department has not authority to do that, but in the process already executed, demand has been raised, and in the appellated forum it is proved that actually in the merit of the case the transaction is taxable, activity is taxable. So in that case the court, most of the cases, number of cases limited the demand only for that period. Interest is also for only that limited period, not also beyond the 1 year, that is the extended period of the no interest is charged. Interest is a compensatory nature. You are paying tax today, after 7 years, 8 years, later to take it, or 9 years or 10 years. But in that case, what will happen? The demand only confirmed, and you have to pay the demand and interest for the limited period, not for the extended period of 5 7 years or whatever is there. That case you will not pay, and in penalty as such will not impose it. Generally it has happened that, and a relevant date will be calculated. Already I told, from the date when the return has been filed, from there 30 months or 5 years will be calculated. If you are not filed the return, not filed at all the return, but the show cause notices has been issued, the period will be calculated from the due date of filing return. And where the service tax provisionally assessed, the date of adjustment of service tax after the final assessment, from that date it will be counted. Erroneously refund will be counted from the date of refund. So in these circumstances the department go for invocation of the extended period for limitation for the demanding service tax under section 73, and adjudication of the penalty under section 78, and other processes has been prescribed. So now question is, the show cause notice may have to adjudicate within the prescribed limit. So that is this is the provision. Prescribed limit is in case of 30 months where applicable, 6 months, but where the 5 years is applicable within 1 year from the date of show cause. But practically again I am telling, this is even if provided under the act, people are challenging, but most of the cases the department is not in a position to order it, but it is a ground on which you can also challenge the departmental appeal orders, because the adjudication has not been completed within the due date as prescribed under the act. And then the question will come, the payment of tax so much before the issue of show cause notice. That is also provision is there, just like your GST law, same provision. When the show cause demand has been raised, you can also admit the tax and make the payment. And where it is found that actually it is where it is found that there is no fraud, but in case of fraud, collusion, willful suppressment, etc., this facility is not available for making the payment. And another is the adjudication proceeding. Let I am giving a brief view. The notice, first the investigation will be started. Already I told the sources of investigation is by scrutiny of the returns, and because it was manually scrutined, that time it was taken up, it was not, the portal was not updated on, just like GST, it was not functioning like GST. And the third party data, mostly the demand, the show cause notice demand has been raised based upon the third party data. Third party data is the department CBDT data, ITR filed, your 26 ASA, AISA, and tax audit reports under the income tax 44 AB, bank statement, bank accounts, and similarly the information given by different authorities. So from there, or the CAG comments. So on the basis of CAG means departmental CAG comments, based upon which the show cause notices has been issued. So once the show cause notice has been issued, you are required to go for it. If you are admitting, pay the taxes along with the interest, and no penalty is going to be imposed because it is the show cause notice stage. And sorry, in the investigation stage, otherwise you reply for the investigation. So during the investigation, department will ask for different documents, starting from bank statement, ITR return, tax authority reports. So your state 3 return, why you have not filed, if you filed, why it is undervaluation is there. So all the financial statements, balance sheet, profit and loss account, ledger account, etc., may be specifically. So there this will see, if you found that there is a negligence on your part, actually you are not in any compliance, so better to make the payment along with the interest. So penalty you can avoid. Otherwise, if the show cause notice has been issued, then subsequently what will happen? You have to make the reply. The adjudicating authority will go for adjudication, and he may accept your submission, can drop the demand, or he may not accept your submission and confirm the demand of the department. And many cases we found that the cases where the demand has been confirmed, the registered service provider is filed appeal with the commission of appeal as a first appeal. And in many cases where adjudicating officer dropped the demand, assume that it dropped the, many cases we found dropped the demand. In that case also we found department is also going for filing the appeal, and both appeals, both party also some cases same matter, same year, maybe both the department and the appellant are also filed the appeal. Circumstances related to take entire demand has been dropped. So I am a service provider. I am not aggrieved. So there is no need of going for the appeal. But the department can go for make a review. There is a review committee is there. Generally, it is headed by the commissioner and by other members, and they may review all the adjudication orders, and accordingly they can authorize somebody. If they are not satisfied, the department can go for the appeal. So in this case, department filed the appeal, one appeal. So I am not required to file. But like, assume that many items in the show cause notice, but some items are accepted, some items not accepted, some transaction accepted, some transaction not accepted. The transaction which is not accepted, as a registered person, you will go for the appeal. The cases where the department found that it is in the favor of the favor of the registered person, or the dropped for the registered person, then department can go for. So both appeals can be heard. So generally it has happened, and while the adjudicating authority will heard the cases, hear the cases by way of a personal hearing, you will issue the notice for personal hearing, and generally maximum 3 adjournments will be given. Actually, again I am telling, the provision talks about 3 adjournments, but not like GST. GST, we found that more than 3 adjournments is not at all given. But in the case of Sestat, I found, I was in the 9th, I was with the Sestat also. I have 4 cases. I found many cases people have not appeared. Particularly, I am talking this type of cases. And they are the Sestat has recorded and passed the order that 3 adjournments has been given, or the 3 times it is adjourned. So this is the last chance the party has to appear. One chance they are giving, or 2 chances giving, if it is requested or if been not requested. So generally 3 adjournments should be there, and the personal hearing is a basic requirement for the purpose. And then what will happen if the person will agree with the order of the adjudicating authority, the registered person will go for filing the appeal. And the 2 cases just I am telling, the right hand side you can go for the appeal. Usually in the on the basis of adjudication order, actually adjudication order, in short we called OIO, or order in original. So order against order in original, one has to go for the appellated forum. So first appellated forum under Service Tax or Finance Act is the Commission of Appeals, and the appeal has to be filed in the ST form ST4, and form ST4, along with the statement of facts and grounds of appeal. And for filing of appeal, an assessee is required to make a mandatory pre-deposits, just like your GST, but in case of GST, it is 20%, but in case of your service tax, it is 10%. Actually, 7.5% is the fee has to be deposited. Pre-deposit has to be made 7.5% if the appeal lies to the Commission of Appeal. And against the Commission of Appeal order, one can go to the Sestat by making the payment of 2.5%. In total, it is 10%. But again, I am telling, sometimes also the appeal can directly can be filed with the Commission of Appeals. So which cases the appeal will be filed with the Commission of Appeal. Now, when the adjudication has been taken place by the commissioner or principal commissioner, actually when the so-called notice issued, you submitted the reply depending upon the volume of tax demand, and as per the delegation of power, the jurisdictional authority may be starting from the superintendent and assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, joint commissioner, additional commissioner, commissioner, and principal commissioner. So here the commissioner and the principal commissioner adjudicated the matter and passed the order in original. That case appeal will be filed directly with the Central Excise Customs and Central Excise and Service Tax Tribunal. And where the appeal is below the commissioner, adjudicating authority is below commissioner, then that appeal will go to the commissioner appeals, and against the commissioner appeal order, it will go to the sestat. And similarly, when the order in original has been issued by the adjudicating authority late in favor of the registered service provider, so department can go for the review, and they can go for the filing the appeal also. So sometimes after review, department will go for the filing of the appeal. And similarly, in the case of a commission appeal, if the order has been passed in the favor of the registered person, then the department can go for the review appeal. We called it as review appeal before the Central Excise Service Tax Tribunal, the Customs and Central Excise and Service Tax Tribunal. So in this case, when the appeal is generally taken up by the SESTAT, so both department appeal and assessee appeal has been taken up and has been heard at a time. And this is the general background. Then your appeal fee has to be given. Quantum of appeal fee has been prescribed. So generally, it is depend upon the taxable value, interest and penalty. It is 5 lakhs and below it is 1,000. 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs it is 5,000. 50 lakhs above it is 10,000. And if in case of rectification of a mistake or condonation of a delay will come later on. There is a time period of a filing appeal is 90 days, and if there is a condonation of delay, we could not file within the period of 90 days as prescribed. So in that case, you can go for the making an application for a delay condonation, and if the appellate authority is satisfied, then they can allow you. And again, one thing I tell you, in case of a GST, the condonation period is 1 month for the commissioner and 3 months for the GSTAT. But in case of service tax, similarly, 1 month condonation delay is with the commissioner, but the SESTAT has the power to condone more than the 1 month. Many cases even also they condone in the abnormal period also, depending upon circumstances of case, if it is satisfied. And generally, the Supreme Court has given a guideline in many cases that the applicant who submitted the appeal or filed the appeal delay and applied for the condonation of delay, in that case, the condonation will be allowed, provided the day-wise justification will be provided by the service provider. So it is not that you cannot give a general reply or something. You have to submit it by what way it has been. Just recently, I have also put a condonation delay for a substantial amount of demand. 19 crores is the tax, and penalty also 19 crores, and interest also accordingly calculated from the 2014-15 to 2017 17-18, sorry, 16-17 financial year up to June. And in that case, actually, we justified on the ground, it was around 900 days, but we justified on the ground that the notice was issued, the demand was issued during the COVID period. The office was shifted after that. It was not in the knowledge that there is a department appeal. Only the hearing has been taken place by the appellant appeal. They came to understand that is a departmental appeal, and we justified with all of the shifting of office, COVID period, circular of the COVID period, not to conduct the office, and the receipt date, everything, and who received it. So all the data we submitted, and the tribunal satisfied. So certain circumstances, tribunal will consider your request provided you have to justify. So that is very important point which you have to keep in mind. Friends, just as I remember, perhaps I told you ST4, actually ST5 we have to file, and ST7 will be the tribunal filing, and ST5 will be the Commissioner Appeal filing. This is a prescribed format. And in case of ST6, it is the departmental appeal has to be filed in the ST6. That forms, prescribed forms you can keep in mind. And then when the appeal has been filed by the any of the party, the other party will be treated as respondent. If I am the appellant, then the department is the respondent. If the department filed the appeal is the appellant, then the registered person, service provider, is the treated as the respondent. Why I am talking this? Now, once the appeal has been filed, the copy will be sent to the respondent, and the respondent has to submit a memorandum of cross objection in the prescribed form ST6, and that has to be submitted within 45 days from the receipt of the notice. So 45 days is very important point. It will not submit. So memorandum of cross objection meaning is, you see what happens when the review appeal has been filed by the department, or the appellant filed the appeal. A copy will go to the department. Department will examine the grounds, and if they do not agree, they can make a cross objection. So that has to be filed within the due period. And the department, it can be also extended. Actually, it can be considered by the appellant authority if there is a delay. But again, I am telling, you have to justify that. They have to satisfy that there is a delay. So this is the pre-depository, already I told. And again, I'm telling this pre-depository is the balance. It is given in the second appeal, that is 10%. So 10% minus 7.5%. If any appeal has been filed directly with the SESTAT, then it is 10%. If any appeal first filed with the Commission Appeal, then it's 7.5% with the Commission Appeal. And if against the order of the Commissioner, it is going to the SESTAT, then the balance 2.5% will go for the payment. So maximum is the 10%, and Senbat credit may be utilized for making the payment of the your pre-deposit. Just like your GST, ITs can also be utilized for payment of the pre-deposits under the GST law. And a refund, some cases also a refund claim must comply with the following conditions. Again, I am telling erroneous refund. I am talking that is a demand. So the pre-deposit or any tax refund, etc., is there. You have to also prove that the burden has not been passed on to the anybody. So let you take a there is a demand, and you contested, you made the pre-deposits, and subsequently you won the case. It is in your favor. You can apply for refund of the deposit, and department is required to make the refund along with the 6% interest. And because it is not a tax, and you have to prove that no tax, whatever refund you are making, the claiming, it has not been passed on to anybody. So that means you have to comply with that. And generally the provision contains different provisions: base judgment assessment, interest will be made payment if there is a delay in deposits, rectification mistakes, power to search, power to seize the documents, books of accounts, deposit of excess service tax collected from the any person has to be deposited with the government. You cannot keep it. Provisional attachment, publication of information in certain persons. Default cases, actually there is a publication of information about defaulter. Recovery of the amount due to government. Service tax return preparatory scheme is there. Settlement commission provisions also there. Revision of orders by the central government, and mandatory furnishing of information. These are also certain provisions contains. And there is also interest payable if there is a delay. Interest is a compensated nature, and there is a 24% if service tax collected but not paid belatedly, delay, you are making 24%. And small taxpayers cases, there is a reduction of interest 21%, and they are the where the turnover is not exceeding 60 lakhs, they are treated as a small taxpayers. And other cases it is 15%, and small taxpayers it is 12%. So that is there. And there is also different penalties are there. Failure to make the payment of service tax. So this slide I am not discussing, and it just to give, because when there is a demand will be raised, the demand will be raised with the demand of the tax, and interest as cited in the left side of the slide, and the right side it talks about this is the consequence of default, that means penalty. So there are different sections under which penalty is given. These are the failure to register with the due date. These are the small penalties are there: non-compliances of the act, failure to issue of the invoices, e-payment where it is mandatory you have not made the payment. So these are very small. Failure to furnish information, 200 rupees per day. So like this, these are the but the major point here is in the section 78, where there is a fraud, collusion, etc. 100% penalty has to be paid in addition to 100% sorry, tax plus interest. But penalty, if you make a 15% of the service tax, sorry, if you make the payment within 30 days of the issue of the show cause notice, and by making the 15% payment of penalty, tax, interest plus 15%, then it will be concluded. And similarly, service tax amount determined if the service interest tax reduced penalty is paid within 30 days. So the similar provision also there in the GST law. And the right hand side you go for the penalties. So these are the penalties are there. Generally, when the demand has been raised, the penalty has been raised under section 76, 77, 78 and 78 and 70 and 7 under rule 7C and 78A. So these are the sections under which. So now question here is, this is the background. Now we will go for our detailed discussion. So what is time barred orders under the service tax demand? Already I clarified it. Time barred means the notices which are issued after 5 years from the due date of filing return. Okay, and generally we have to prove, it has to prove, it is the responsibility of the department to prove that revenue has to prove that the invocation of extended period of limitation has been made. There is a fraud, there is a collusion, there is a misstatement, there is a concealment of information, and the RCC has not followed the principle of law or provision of law. Then in that case they will invoke the extended period of guarantee. So the Commission of Appeal and Session already I told you has to file. So now question, very important point is how to draft, what grounds to take in the time barred cases. Now statement of facts is a part in addition to ST5 and ST7, even also ST6 memorandum of cross objection. You have to make a mention about the statement of facts and findings of the department, that is a part of the statement of facts. So statement of facts, two parts we can say, fact as well as department finding during the show cause, then grounds of appeal. And now before going for the order, as a consultant, as an employee or as a taxpayer, what you have to see. Now if the show cause notice has been issued, you have read it. I am not covering the show cause notice here, but the same principle is applicable. The show cause notice, while you are replying, you have to also read the show cause notice. Similarly, when the order in original has been issued, means adjudication order, where confirmation of a demand has been made, has been issued, first is read the order thoroughly, underline all the findings recorded therein. Because you see, show cause notice has been issued with reason. Why? With certain assumption, presumption we can say, or maybe fact on which the demand has been raised, proposed we can say, and the adjudication order will justify the demand. That's why adjudicating officer has recorded the findings. So you read the findings, on what basis he confirmed. Analyze the relied upon documents in show cause, financial statements, and what is the basis documents they have taken, and reproduce the relevant extract findings of further reference, summary, etc. And a first step is to have a complete control of the fact. So you should understand the fact. Actually, many large cases, huge demand cases, even also again I'm telling, because I am in the advocate practice, I found many clients not knowingly, actually unknowing, they do not know your requirement. That's why they are not in a position to provide you all the information at a time. So what happens, whatever information they are submitting, you read it, and you also examine the orders, show cause notices, orders, documents which are as a part of the show cause notice. Underline, make a brief facts in detail headwise and call for the documents. And on that basis of documents, you should have a control. Once you read all the documents, whatever is requirement, so your facts should be very clear. Statement of facts should be framed with clarity. Understand the business nature of activities carried out by the appellant. Sometimes the appellant, if you have a doubt, we never disturb them, or they may not in a position to give updates. So we went to their website and seen different informations are available. That also that you can do also, and mention about brief about the business. See the registered person's registration certificate, and see on which services they have taken registration. That is very important point of view. And allegations, what is the allegation is a show cause notice. See it, what the allegation is really it is after seeing the facts is to what extent correct. Summarize the findings on the order precisely. Make sure that the appellant authority understand the whole case while because whatever you are submitting, it has to be. Many cases we found the clients pressurize to submit a number of judicial pronouncement, to submit a number of facts. Friends, just I am telling, better you do very sketchy and cover everything. Clarity should be there. Language should be very simple, and the one can understand it. If you write more and repeatedly write, so it will be actually very tedious on the part of the appeal authorities to read it, understand. They will not take interest. So more cases will not have any. Give the cases which are very relevant. So that you have to see. These are before the preparation. So major document already the ST5 is the one place where ST4 written that we read ST5, ST5 and ST7 Commission of Appeal or the SESTAT. Fact of the case, grounds of appeal, relevant documents as will be given as a annexes, and additional submission has to be required to be made at the time of personal hearing. So in personal hearing, you can give synopsis. Actually, every appeal, just to remember, a synopsis should be given. I have submitted one appeal, statement facts, grounds of appeal, maybe 50 pages, but the court do not have the power to read it. So at least the entire 50 pages, a synopsis I will prepare and give it in 2-3 pages chronologically with my relevant grounds, and which they can read, which generally we do it, and generally it is appreciated by the members of the bench, or they understand it. Recently I was making a presentation, actually it is a 4 appeals combined hearing, and I made a synopsis. The department sometimes wanted to make it linger, cited that it is pending before the Supreme Court, but I prepared it chronologically of the view that against the order of the High Court, department on a particular matter gone to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court has not stayed the matter. So you remember the number of judgments are there. One of the judgment I am talking, which is very relevant, Kamalaksi Finance Limited, where another Supreme Court held that if a department filed any appeal against the order of the lower court before the Supreme Court or the higher court, and it was not stayed, then the lower court can go for hearing of the cases. So in this case, the department filed the appeal against the High Court before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court admitted it, but not stayed. And department all the time, last 2-3 occasions, they are telling that this matter is going to be listed. After that, the matter will be taken in place. But what happens? I prepared a synopsis citing that there is no change in the definition of a service, pre-negative, negative, and subsequently particular transmission distribution. I am telling this occasion that the dispute is related to the transmission distribution of electricity. Then I told that there is a High Court decision of Gujarat current power case which is pending. But again I am telling, but the subsequently government in the GST regime already circular 34 they come out with a similar notification, sorry, circulars clarifying that these services are not accessible. So no relevance of the circular 34 according to us. So like this we presented and number of judicial pronouncements we are given. So synopsis, by reading the synopsis, the bench or the members of the appellate authority can have an idea what is the matter involved in this case. They can go into deep, no doubt about it. They are very sharp and they can ask a number of questions. So you should be very clear. My point of talking to you is you should be, the clarity should be there and the number of pages should be less, but covering all the facts should be there. You discuss with the client, gather more information, interact with the client, concerned persons, if required with the higher authorities. Sometimes concerned persons are lower authorities. Let a particular matter is disputed, but there is a service tax demand. So the finance department not be aware about that. You involve the legal department who is dealing with the matter. So that's why it is very much required. Call for all the returns, call for all the documents, payment of taxes, taxable value calculation, ledger copies, see it, verify it. If required, also see the particular invoices, challans which has not been accepted by the department, and see the what is the strong and weakness in the area, list out it, what is your strong point, what is your weak point. If it is weak point, find out the different cases or judicial pronouncements, make a demand comparison of the tax. Sometimes what happens, your book figure is different than the so-called figure, so-called figure is also different than the adjudicating figure. Make a reconciliation, find out if there is a difference. I'm telling 4 months before I filed 4 appeals of a party where the figure reconciliation has been made a substantial tax reduction, 6-7 crores tax reduction has been made because the figure which has been taken by the in the show cause notice is completely different from the adjudication, and the calculation also difference is there. So that fast computation is very much required. And if you are admitting that some tax, make the payment immediately. Subsequently, you can go for the appeal. So these are things you have to keep in mind. And the statement of facts generally appellant service provider details to be provided, nature of business in the second para. Third para give a brief about the investigation, audit memo, statement, notices on basis of which show cause has been issued. What reply you submitted to the show cause, that also specify briefly. What you submitted before the adjudicating authority and what point which amount they dropped, which amount they confirmed, the assumption or the grounds or findings of the adjudicating authority based upon which demand has been taken, that also make a para. The detailed fact of the case, including the fact not brought out in the stage of replying, that also you can give. Some cases you also could not reply in the show cause notice stage or adjudication stage. You can also submit in the appellate stage. Should not be argumentative, actually should not use the harsh word. That is very important. I am talking. Many cases we found very simple language is right, polite language is right. Many cases people are writing very hard legal languages. It should not be. And it is what I am discussing, it is not only for service tax, it is also applicable to the GST also. That is same principle is applicable. Facts should only narrate the sequence of events. Document annex should be specified specifically and with annex A, B, C, D or annex 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. And the backup of the demand etc. should be given to justify. So the grounds generally what will it take? Factual ground, merit ground will it take? Ground generally, first I have to raise whether the authority has a jurisdiction or not. Again, I am telling, when it is a time bar case, you see whether there is a jurisdiction is not there. Limited period, you see whether the demand has been raised, sorry, show cause notice has been issued within limited period. Friends, I wanted to share 2-3 issues on this particular case. 7-8 appeals I filed. These appeals are, I think, more than that. We filed within 3 months. And most of the appeal cases we found, the show cause notices had been issued in 2019, that is during COVID period. And some cases we found when the demand notice has come in the 2022, the party came to understand that there is a demand. So they visited the office and collected the demand order. Then they submitted the reply. Adjudication has been taken place, and adjudication has been dropped. And the department went to the commission of appeal. Commission of appeal has on certain ground confirmed the departmental, accepted the department of appeal and confirmed the demand, reconfirmed. That means again demand has been confirmed. Now the party has gone to the tribunal. And this is one occasion I am talking. So what will happen? In this case, what will happen? The department is telling, even Commissioner of Appeal also telling that, no, you have received it because you replied, you received it. So, but receipt has been made after 2 years. 99 in September, perhaps it was issued 2019 September, sorry, 2019 September, and 2022 April it was replied, adjudicated. And the party has been gone for RTI information, stating that please confirm which day this has been communicated and which date it has been received, by whom it is received. Because that is very much required. When I am challenging the time barred case, I have to prove that I have not received the notice. The notice has been, the so-called notice has been issued, but it was not received by me for 2 years. And department has given the later date, but not confirmed the whether acknowledged or not, and how it has sent. It submitted to courier or by speed post. That could not be told. Then the party has gone to the RTI, Appellate Authority of RTI of the particular of the department, and they could not also. They told that no such information is available. Hello, मैडम डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया. हेलो, हाँ बोलिए. हाँ बोलिए. Actually, I am in one webinar. I will tell later on. I will confirm. Hello, sir, can you confirm? I think it is going well, audible and visible. Shall I check it? Hello, 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 hello. The audience side, can you tell? Okay, ठीक है, I am continuing. So in this case, the department could not give the details. They told that the information is not available. So friends, for your information, if such a situation is there, you first establish that there is no communication from the department. So time bar cases, the communication is very important. Jurisdiction is the first concept. First, you have to verify the authority who has issued having the power to issue or not. Second case is limitation period. So if it is limitation period, whether it is really communicated. So cases where it is communicated, so that case you have to put, and very important is when you received any notice, any order, put a stamp, sign it, which date you received it, because that is very important. Many cases it is not happened in the case of clients. And the second is whether the opportunity has been given to you. That means they have issued the notices, personal hearing has been taken place, you appeared, that is a recording of the facts. So your presence is there, a minutes generally prepared that has been handed over, record of personal hearing. Many cases we found that the authority is reluctant to give the copy of the record of the personal hearing. Actually, you should insist it, because sometimes what happens, whatever we submitted in the reply or whatever we submitted in the appeal, generally we ask additional submission made, and in addition to some additional point also we raised before the appellate authority. So it has to be a record of personal hearing should be, a copy should be submitted. Many cases people are not giving, many cases people are giving voluntarily, authority is giving voluntarily, but we should insist it. Non-speaking order. Non-speaking means when I submitted the reply, actually the guideline which is provided by the department, the decision of the many of the courts of the view that when a show cause notice has been issued or a order in a original against which appeal has been filed, the appellate authority taking the personal hearing and by on the basis of the submission made or the fact grounds of appeal taken. So what on the grounds of appeal, I have on the merit of a grounds of appeal, we submitted with all the facts, we submitted the provisions of law, relied upon notification circulars, relied upon the decision of the jurisdictional court and other courts. And if the appellate authority is not agreeing to that, he has to record the facts why they have not agreed. So many cases we found your reply with the case laws has been made analysis. If the department is not agreeing, appellate authority is not agreeing, so they justifying that this is the submission of the authorized representative or the submission of the appellant, and we do not agree with these decisions, so ground should be given. If that is not there, then you will find it is a non-speaking order. Friends, honestly I am telling, many of the orders issued by the Commission of Appeals, that first appellate authority we can say, is non-speaking orders. In the GST regime you will find most of the orders are non-speaking orders. Very simple 3-4 lines they are writing, and this is not acceptable to the tribunal. Actually tribunal will not accept it. So many cases you will find they are writing the reply submitted is not convincing, hence not accepted. Like this, many state tax cases we found in GST regime. Same thing also you verify. If in non-speaking order, then you can take a ground. When there is a non-speaking order, this order is null and void. This should not be. This should be squashed. And a principle of natural justice is given or not, we will discuss all the items, particularly few case laws. Along with that, each year I have to go for revenue neutrality. I have to examine whether your case is revenue. That is a tax demand, but that is a ITC. So practically, if ITC is available and a tax demand, the situation is revenue neutrality. There is no loss of revenue to government. Let RCM, a particular service is covered under RCM. So we have not paid the tax under RCM. But if I paid, suppose if I would have paid, then that is available to me as ITC. So practically what happens? I have not paid, I have not availed ITC. If I paid, I have availed the fees. So both cases situation we will find it is revenue neutral. There is no loss of revenue to the government. So most of the cases I will have some lot of case laws where you will find when there is a revenue neutrality. So in that case, there should not be any demand of tax. Since no demand of tax, no interest. Since no interest, no penalty should be imposed. So you just examine whether your case is revenue neutrality is there or not. Whether the order is based upon misinterpretation of the provisions of law, notification circulars. I am just giving there is a difference between a hiring of vehicle and a renting of vehicle. And taxability also depends both in the GST period and also service tax period. And this has been established by the honorable sestat of different benches, high courts and supreme courts also. The distinction made. You submitted it, but the so-called notice has been issued misinterpreting the provisions. They are and the appellated stage, adjudication appellated stage, they have not accepted. So he pointed out and put it, make a distinction. They have tax due as a hiring. They have not tax due as renting. Let you take or vice versa. So you have to establish that. Challenge the virus of the act rules and notifications. Interest is compensatory nature. So if that is only payable, and if it is a tax is not payable, interest is not payable. And again I am telling, interest is payable if there is a loss of revenue. If there is no loss of revenue, no interest is payable. Non-applicability of penalty in case of extended period of limitation. This point already I told you. When extended period of limitation will not stand, so no question of putting the penalty. And then we go to the when will you take the ground after examining these points. So you frame which ground will you take, what is happening in your case, and list out these are the first ground, this is the second ground, this is third ground, the fourth ground. And again I am telling, generally what happens, so when we have drafted the grounds, we have taken the merit as the first ground. Okay, then the others are interest and penalty in the second category and third category. If I have more than one ground on the merit of the case, I have to also go for each item a separate ground. Let 3 items, 3 services or 3 receipts, it is treated as taxable. So each item wise I can go for the taxable grounds. But interest is a separate ground, penalty is a separate ground. Okay. So what happens if there is an extended period of limitation and you are challenging, you are appeal your first appeal, your show cause notice, adjudication order, and the first appeal, all the order has been passed, which is due to the extended period of limitation, which is not applicable according to your case. So in that case, you take the first ground that the extended period of limitation is not applicable in the present case. So that's why the show cause notice issued subsequently order in original confirm the demand, or the appeal order confirm the demand is to be deleted, demand to be deleted, and order to squash. So that ground you take first. Subsequently other grounds you take. And the ground should be very simple, clear, precise, concise, not don't write more, and without any ambiguity. There should not be cross one para will differ from the other para. That means the first para and second all should be in one line. One line means one point of it will go. Your argument should be stepwise, not that contradicting to each other. And in case of more than one ground involved, so preference should be ground to be decided which you have to. Sometimes we also take the alternative ground. So when there is a time bar case also, you can take alternative ground. Assuming that tax is payable, so this is the ground. Assuming but not admitting, again I am telling, assuming but not admitting, the service is liable to tax, but penalty is not imposed. Like this, alternative ground also you can take. And long sentences should be avoided, short sentence should be taken. And let us take if any order has been issued, I will go for the subsequently I will go for the merit of the cases. First I will see what are the lacuna in the case. First case I will take. Sometimes see there is a requirement of issue of the show cause notice. Actually, any show cause notice will be issued with the proposed demand should be based upon the facts, and it should be given, and the classification should be made. Actually, let us take one example. Department issued the show cause notice and you have not responded. They have taken the data from the CBDT portal, ITR data. They have shown that in the ITR there is a receipt of 50 lakhs, whereas ST3 return it is 20 lakhs. 30 lakhs is there, and that 30 lakhs they are demanding now with a 15%. Let us take the last one, whatever was their tax rate, around 15.5 or something. Let us take that has been taken. Okay, year wise it depends upon the rate that has been imposed. So now question is which category they classified, because it is not known to the department. So department is writing that it is a taxable value. Actually, the guideline which has been issued, guidance has been issued, provision talks about when the show cause notice is issued, it should be issued with which category of service it is covered, what is the taxable value, what is the tax calculation. So here you will find there is no category of service. So this is one of lacuna, you can also challenge it. Second, suppose the show cause notice has been issued that a particular receipt is treated as service under section 65B, but it is not, or it is treated as a declared service and taxable. But the adjudicating officer authority has confirmed the demand with another ground. Or let us take the demand has been confirmed, but sorry, demand has been dropped, and the department went to the next higher authority with some other ground. So in that case, we called it as order traveling beyond the show cause notice. I am giving very lively example which I was appearing before some days back before the tribunal. Actually, in this case, there is a demand of 100 let to take, and 10 items are there. And out of 10 items, 2 items they have shown that it is tolerate to an act, and it is treated as a taxable it will be treated as a taxable service and accordingly taxable. You know that section 66E, that is a tolerate to an act, do an act. So any amount received, just let you take a liquidated damage. So it is covered under that. And department issued the show cause notice treating a particular amount as taxable receipt. That I am giving in case of transmission distribution, meter entry, they treated as a taxable receipt. Okay. And similarly, amount received recovered as a theft power in the electricity sector. When there is a theft of power, when the people have bypassed the meter and use the electricity, in that case there is a provision in the Electricity Act that 1.5 times of the normal tariff will be charged. So department hold it as it is the tolerate one act, let to take. So the service tax demand has been raised in the two cases, meter rent case, it is a service, and theft of power treated as it is a tolerate one act. Accordingly, the show cause notice has been issued. The Appellate Authority confirmed the demand, sorry, dropped the demand, let to take. And against the Appellate Authority, department went to the tribunal. And the tribunal, what happens? They treated that the second one, the first one is a tolerate one act. But first one was treated as a service. But now it is treated as a tolerate one act. So now question is, and the second one they have treated that it is out of the purview of the Electricity Act. Actually, under the Electricity Act, tariff is determined. So in this case, show cause notice issued on the ground that it is out of the purview of the Electricity Act. So it is additional amount collected. So it is taxable. But department take a different view in the adjudication order. So what will happen if there is a different view has been taken than the original show cause notice? Then it is even if it is taxable, but it has to be dropped. These are the cases just you see. The Champa Dani Industries is a very renowned judgment of Supreme Court, subsequently followed also. Show cause notice is the foundation of the case made out in the show cause notice based upon which demand is raised. So that is a ground has been taken, assumption taken. This is not compliant, that's why it is taxable. But subsequent authorities cannot take a different view. So if they wanted to confirm the demand, based upon that view only. They cannot take a new view, they cannot add a new things to justify the demand of the department. So that's why we have to examine that the ground on which the show cause notice has been issued, the ground on which demand has been dropped, or the ground on which demand has been confirmed. All the cases, if any appeal filed by the department subsequently, whether there is a change in the mind, we can say, rather change in the mind, or they have taken a different view, different ground for filing the appeal. So in that case, department appeal may not stand. So orders traversing beyond the show cause notice is not acceptable, and it is beyond the it is generally dropped. The merit of the case does not arise. So we are taking first this one. Then coming to the second, these are the cases just you go through. Then legal aspect, if you go, principle of natural justice is very important. Opportunity of being had, some opportunity will be given. Again, I'm telling the GST law, it is 3 hearings mandatory. After that, no hearing is extended. But in the tribunal, more than 3 hearings can be allowed. Even if 3 hearings there, but they allowed it. But again, I'm telling, opportunity being had, as I already explained to you, if the authority is not going to give you more data, so in that case, what will happen? They will very clearly mention that 3 hearing already allowed, nobody appeared. This is the last chance. If will not appear, then the case will be decided on the merit of the paper available in the portal or the appeal submission. So this should be principle of natural justice. Sorry, opportunity of being heard should be there. Non-speaking order already I told you. Submission of appellant not considered. If I submitted something but they ignored it, so that has to be specified. I can take one ground also. Findings not recorded in the order. Actually, I just come across 3 adjudicating orders 3 months back. The proper officer issued the show cause notice. The department officer has gone for the adjudication of the order. Since you cannot imagine, honestly, I'm sharing with you because the practical things I'm talking. In the adjudicating officer, in the adjudication order, nothing finding given. whatever incorporated the ground in the show cause notice, he just repeated it, and then the order has been passed. So now question here is, what is the difference between the proper officer who is issuing show cause notice and the adjudicating authority? And he has also not incorporated my submissions, the case laws. So I just politely talked to him. I told, this order has been issued, so you have not mentioned my submissions, you have not discussed my judicial pronouncements, grounds on which we submission made, and what is the difference then between the show cause notice and order in original, similarly in the appeal stage also. So that's why the discussion should be there, and that ground also you can take, that also you can take while you are justifying the principle of natural justice, which is my right has not been extended. You can say these are the points. Because of that, there is no principle of natural justice is extended to me in the appeal forum, first appellated forum or second appellated forum also. Then these are the case laws you can go through. I'll not go for non-speaking order. Already I told you there should be a detailed discussion of whatever you submitted. And procedural lapses should not be a ground of conferring the demand. Procedural lapses meaning is sometimes credit cannot be denied for no mention of the recipient on the tax invoices. Actually, I am talking about particularly service tax period. Duplicate tax invoice concept was not there. Original has to be submitted. So sometimes people original has been lost, duplicate has been submitted. It was verified and the department denied. It is a procedural lapses. So for the procedural lapses, the demand should not be confirmed. In the GST period also, I am explaining to you similar concept also there. Let you take a you avail the your tax invoice contains state GST and central GST, CGST and state GST. These are tax invoice. But while I am filing the GST 3B and availing the ITC, I availed at IGST. Wrongly I upheld. So now question is, a procedural mistake. Rectification should be made. And when there is no rectification provision, so that's a, that has to be made, that has to be rectified, or direction should be given for rectification by the appellate authority. So that is not a ground one has to confirm it. Even also adjudicating authority, we found in many cases, they directed that this is the mistake. Since there is no possible facility of making rectification, so the accounts officer like this, some authority has been directed to make the correction. So demand is dropped. It is also there. And one occasion, already I told you, department went to the commission appeal. Commission appeal also not accepted the department appeal and also accepted the findings of the adjudicating authority and dropped the demand. So that is the very important. Procedural aspect should not be taken as a ground, should not be dropped. So if there is a procedural lapses is there, then you can take it. And a computation aspect also see, because already I told you have to make comparison. If there is a mistake, then you point out these are the mistakes are there. And then these are the broad heads. Bona fide belief. Again, I am telling you believe that this is not acceptable. Your interpretation is this is covered under exemption notice. Just I am telling, last month I filed 2 appeals. The assessee, the individual assessee, has been awarded with the certain work. Actually, the work, the government department has taken the drainage work. It has allotted to the contractor, a contractor. The contractor giving work to a subcontractor. So they are the 2 persons are subcontractors. So turnover around 1 crore and 1 crore. And they have I think not more than 1 crore, 1 crore. And the demand has been raised on the basis of third party data. And the department of the view that the work which is there, it is not exempted. They are misinterpreting the amendment made in the 2016. They are of the view that from 2016 there is a amendment made where there should be an agreement, and the agreement should be executed before a particular date, and the category under which the demand has been dropped by the adjudicating authority is not correct. It should fall under another category, and which is taxable, since the adjudicating authority has dropped the demand and department went to the Court went to the first appellate authority. First appellate authority blindly confirmed it. So we have gone to the second appellate authority. So second appellate authority, we have taken ground. We have taken alternative ground as the bona fide belief, but we have taken ground that this is falling under this category which is exempted. It is actually government work and it is exempted. And secondly, we have taken the assessee bona fide belief that it was falling under this category. That's why the service tax has not been discharged. So there should not be any penalty. So when a bona fide activity, so these are some of the cases that I'm telling. It is the Supreme Court judgments are there. Just you can go through where that ground also you can take no penalty. A number of judgments I have given. Revenue neutral case, there is no tax, no interest, no penalty. So that's why that ground also you can take, and that is also taken in the time bar cases also. And these are Kokakar case. Many cases are there. Supreme Court judgments are there. So in that case, already I told the example which is related to the RCM in case of security or other cases where you have not paid the tax, not availed the ITC, pay the tax, avail the ITC. So the revenue neutral is there. And you will go to the Supreme Court judgment. Many judgments are there. Actually, Pratibha processor is the one of the judgment which is followed subsequently by others. Very clearly talks that interest is mandatory. If there is a delay in the payment of tax, interest is to be charged. No waiver, nothing is there. However, if there is no loss of revenue, no interest is payable to the department. So that round also you can take. Another point is third party data cannot be taken. Actually, in the time bar case, this ground you have to take also fast. Time bar data already I told you. These are the many judgments are there. Department cannot take the data which are available in the filing portal of the ITR 26 AS, AIS, third party data, and without making further investigation, reconciliation. And at the same time also, as you are filing the appeal as an appellant, you also make a reconciliation. When there is a show cause notice, you make a reconciliation. I'm giving example. Many cases we found. Suppose recently small taxpayer I'm talking, having turnover of around 54 lakhs around, where 45 lakhs is the sale of printable materials and 780 lakhs is the service. And they discharge the service tax on the service portion, but the printable material is subject to VAT. So department issued the show cause notice based upon the ITR return. So ITR return turnover is written 55 lakhs. But when we submitted the reply to the show cause notice, but the demand has been confirmed without going to the detail. Anyhow, from the RCC side, there is also some deficiency. They have not produced the tax invoices. Actually, there is no requirement of tax invoices. How many tax invoices you have to submit? But department sometimes demanding. So in the appellate stage, you can also submit the tax invoices, ledger copies, certified accounts by professional auditors. So then you submit it, you prove it. So third party data cannot be taken. And I have seen 100% cases, third party data taken by the department and the tax demand has been raised without reconciliation and without any justification is not acceptable to the appellate authority. Mostly I am talking in case of tribunal. So where tribunal found that actually some of the portion of the turnover you have not taken on the merit of the case, then the tax demand can be confirmed. But if there is a extended period of limitation, the tax demand is demanded, interest is limited to the only 1 year, the period for which due date up to due date of payment of tax, and no penalty because it is a department because ST3 return they are required to see when you file the ST3 return. So why the department has not seen, now they are issuing the show cause notice, going for the investigation, then issuing the show cause notice. So that's why that is the ground. So these are the cases you can refer it also. Demand there due to technical glitches. Actually, that ground also you can take because it's beyond control. Some of the cases, this is actually mostly happening in the GST regime. Actually, earlier what happens, pre-GST cases also, if the due date of filing return is over, and you can also submit physically. So that was acceptable. But now, since it is in the GST period, it is not possible. So that ground also you can take. Glitches is beyond your control. And this point is very important. Actually, we wanted to discuss. Actually, how you will say that it is a no fraud, no allegation. Already I told you, if the case is not related to the fraud, willful misstatement, suppression of facts, and intent is to evade the tax, so in that case, department cannot go for issue of the notices beyond 5 years and beyond 30 months in other cases also. Okay, and in that case, how will you tell that extended period is not applicable? You are regularly filing the return, and department cannot tell that you have better. It is their responsibility to see the return and immediately can go for the issue of show cause notice if there is non-compliance. Proper recording of transaction in the books of account. Whatever I am submitting return, it is in the books of account. Department cannot tell that it is a fraud. Cooperation with department. All the cases we cooperated. Inquiry made, we submitted all documents, etc. Department cannot tell that it is a fraud or collusion, suppression of facts. Department audit conducted. That data cannot be treated as the base for the issue of the show cause notice. Means my intent is to evade the tax. That is very requirement. Mala-fide intention, suppression of facts in case of information available in the public domain. Actually, many cases we found when the financial data is available in the public domain of a company portal, department cannot tell that this information is not available, and the appellate authority dropped it, the demand on that ground. The extended period of limitation cannot be made. Interpretation of the issue, there is an interpretation. There is a subsequent change of provisions. There is a subsequent decision of the Supreme Court which made it taxable. So you cannot say that extended period of limitation cannot be attached. Let a particular item you are treating as exempted, not taxable. It is covered under exemption, not taxable. And accordingly paid the tax. Let 3 years over. Fourth year, department issued the notice. What basis? Now there is another case, not your case. Department confirmed that this is a taxable service. So because it informed taxable service or decided taxable service, then the department went on or gone for the issue of the show cause notices, demand raised, adjudication order, etc. So that cannot be a ground of invocation of extended period of limitation for the impose of the penalty. Contradictory decisions are there. In many cases we found court recorded it, actually mostly tribunal recorded. These are the cases in for, these are cases in against. Since these are cases in for, the assessee adopted it and accordingly not paid the tax. Now it is decided. So in that circumstances we cannot say tax can be paid, but penalty cannot be paid. Interest is also limited. Assessee is a government organization, so there is no intent to evade the tax. So many cases also that was found. And that ground you can take also, but a period of limitation you can challenge faster. And I am giving few examples just to see. Mahanagar Telephone Nigam, it is also hold that is a government organization, and there is no intent to evade the tax. You can read all these cases. Only one case I will read, Puspam pharmaceutical company. Actually, this is a very renowned case where the department mostly taking what 5-7 cases I am showing. There are, I have around 30-40 cases, but I am showing 5 cases which most of the tribunals are following now. I have seen most of the tribunals. In normal understanding, it is not different that what is explained in various dictionaries, unless of course the context in which it has been used indicates otherwise. A perusal of the provision indicates that it has been used in a company of such a strong word as fraud, collusion, willful default. In fact, it is the mildest expression used in the proviso. Yet the surroundings in which it has been used, it has to be construed strictly. Mark the word strictly. It does not mean any omission. The act must be deliberate. That is very important. Many cases we found it is given, even if there is a fraud, or even if it is proved that knowingly he has not given, he has not given the information, misinformation, but there is no intent to evade the tax. So if there is no intent to evade tax, you cannot go for imposed penalty. In taxation, it can have only one meaning, that the correct information was not disclosed deliberately, mark the word deliberately, to escape from payment of duty. That is the very important point. You have not provided information, or you have provided information according to you it is correct, departmentally it is incorrect, but the department could not prove that department could not prove that you are intent to evade the tax. So in that case, penalty cannot be imposed. Where the facts are known to both the parties, where the fact is known to both the parties, now when the ST3 return has been filed, so it is known to the department. So in that case, one cannot take the ground that there is a suppression of facts evade, to evade the tax, or the misstatement to evade the tax. Friends, just I am telling, you will find almost all show cause notices, you mean confirmation order by the adjudicating authority, that the 3-4 points they are taking. What are the points? One point is, had not been audit conducted, had not been investigation conducted, this has not come to the knowledge of the department, and accordingly the tax could not have been recovered. The party has submitted ST3 but not disclosed or not taken registration. So these 1-2 points they are writing, and in the view of the department, this is amounts to the third misstatement, and accordingly the demand is the penalty is to be imposed like this. So this is not a ground actually on the basis. So both of the cases, the appellate authority first, second, mostly the second will find they are not surviving, they are not accepting the view of the department and dropping the demand. And these are common grounds. You can take also that also com tax you calculate. When suppose you have not collected the tax but the demand has been raised, then what will happen? In the alternative ground you take, assuming but not admitting the receipt of let 5 crores is a taxable supply, but since no tax has been collected, it should be calculated as per rule 35 of the, actually I have mentioned the easiest rule because some person taken, but there is also similar provision in the valuation rule of the service tax, and accordingly com duty basis it will be calculated. Let it 18%, let it upon the 15% service tax, then what will happen? 100 sorry, the amount received into 15% by 115. So like this you calculate, so that the amount of tax would be com duty tax should be calculated. So tax demand will be reduced. Interest already I told you, and miscellaneous provision, just to file a, when there is a delay you file a condonation petition. Actually condonation petition is very important. If there is a delay, a condonation, and your appeal will not be listed unless condonation application is allowed. In the first appellate authority, both will be taken place in the personal hearing. So the day on which personal hearing is taken place, first condonation delay will be considered, then the appeal hearing will start. But in the tribunal, you file the appeal, they made it, they entered in the diary, but they will fix a date for condonation of delay in submitting your application which you submitted for the delay in submission of filing the appeal. So that condonation application will be taken first, and if the bench satisfied allow you, then your appeal will be registered with a number. Then appeal hearing will be as usual will be taken place. So that should be there. So while you are writing the appeal, those who have attended, I think my previous some webinar or some classes, I am not exactly remembering. So in that case, how to write the condonation delay application? You address to the Commission of Appeal or address to the bench, honorable bench of the tribunal. Then you write the fact of the case, that the show cause notice has been issued, or the adjudication order has been issued, or the appeal order has been issued on this date, it was received on this date, and the reason of delay we write. Many cases we have given to consultant, or consultant could not done it, so we change the consultant. That may be one ground. Health ground may be one ground. The person actually, it is sole proprietorship farm, the person was suffered with this disease and was under medical treatment, so there is a delay. These are the you can give. COVID period already I told there is a one ground also. Similarly, many cases the employee kept in the drawer, you can take also the which has been received but the employees those are looking after kept in a drawer, but he has been left job. Like this, some reason you give, you satisfy the appellate authority, then you write. So there is no mala-fide intention, there is no intention of not filing the return. So the delay is beyond the control of the applicant. So this may be allowed. Like this, 4-5 bara you write and go for. So this one you have. So then it will be allowed, and then you can appeal will be numbered, and then you can go for the personal hearing of the appeal. And generally, additional ground you can take subsequently also. And if any, again I'm telling, the first appellate authority, second appellate authority, they are the fact finding authorities. So everything you have to require to submit on that. And if you not submit the documents, factual facts related to your facts, then in the High Court or Supreme Court you cannot submit it, because they will only go for the question of law. So that point you have to keep in mind. Okay. Priyanka, hello. 5 minutes. Uh, So these are the points we can see. Make an index. Actually, when we are going to submit physically, actually in a start physical to be submitted, and in the service tax also, first appellate it has to be submitted physically. You make the index. So index may just serial wise you have to go for mentioning, and that is the ST5 or ST7. Then your order in original, sorry, order in appeal. If you are going against appeal, if you are filing first appeal, then order in original. So against order in original, going to first appeal. Against order in appeal, you are going to the second appeal. So that you have to mention. Then you write statement facts. Then you go for the grounds of appeal. Then you go for the document, annexure of documents. Sorry, show cause notice, reply, adjudicating order. So everything will be serially you have to give it. Then annexures you have to give, documents which you are giving. So that you have to give it. And these are the points you have to keep in mind. Pre-deposit already I told. So once the appeal has been heard and it has gone in your favor, then you will get the refund of the pre-deposit. Friends, one point just I wanted to tell you. After taking your ground, then merit of the ground also you can take. Particularly I'm telling, when there is extended period of limitation, you take all the grounds, you exhaust all the grounds, then you take the assuming but not admitting that the receipt is subject to taxable service, then you submit your submission in favor of your ground. I'm giving one example. In this example, what I was telling, the differential amount between ITR data and this data has been taken as a taxable service and taxed. So we have taken the ground. Already I told you that it is a bona fide belief that it is exemption is available. Extended period of limitation basis it has been raised. All the grounds what I told. And the last ground we have taken, assuming what not admitting, it is taxable. But the taxability is not the entire amount, because you know was contract. So during service tax period, there is a 40%, 60%, and again on that 40%, 60%, because for material and service, and again service portion is taxable. 50% will be paid by the recipient of service, 50% will be paid by the supplier of service. So if your tax is 15 lakhs, then what will happen? Because it will be reduced to 50% both has to pay. So accordingly, what will happen? Your liability will be reduced. So entire amount will not. First is there is abatement. So there is a abatement is there. If 100 is my total receipt now, assuming it is taxable, abatement is 40, then 60. Sorry, abatement is 60, then 40 is taxable. If 40 is taxable, let 15 into 40, that's 6 rupees taxable. If 6 rupees taxable, then 3 has to be paid by the recipient of service, 3 has to be paid by the provider of service. So my liability is 3, not 15. So that stand one can take and also submit. So that has to be given. These are the points which I will circulate. Actually, this one will be uploaded on website. You can go through it, because the time is not there to discuss further. These are points I am giving. Generally, what when we are preparing the appeal, These are the common errors. So show cause notice, appeal, both cases the common errors. These common errors you have to keep in mind for the purpose. So that has been specified. So these are my friends. Already I told the purpose is the plenty of appeals are pending at present. Filing is going on. Those who are dealing with the matter can also look into whatever we discussed for getting successful result in the appeal. And these facts what I discussed also equally applicable in the GST regime also, and that one also can carry in the GST regime. So with this, I think I close the webinar session, and just wait. I will see any question is there. I will try to answer if any question is available. I think no question. Just 1 minute. Any question? Not coming.
So there is one question from Mr. Girish. He
Yeah.
says, are these provisions equally applicable for GST?
Again, I am telling the principle based upon which I discussed is equally applicable to the GST. Non-speaking order, principle of natural justice, all the cases, decision of the higher court binding to the lower court, and accordingly I told the limitation, period of limitation, everything, revenue neutralization, interest payable when there is no loss of whatever points I discussed, equally you can apply it to the GST regime also. There is no bar on it. It is applicable. Just I'll see if any other questions are there. Please register me. Sorry.
Sir, that is an administrative question. We will look into it.
Okay. I think no other question.
No, sir. No other question, please.
And one thing, just I'm giving a mobile number. If anybody wants any help, they can also talk to me. I can help
Yes.
them for their assignment also. I will provide all the information you can file. So professionally, you will be also get some benefits. That I can provide you. Anytime, any clarification you want, I can give you. I am giving my mobile number. 3715432. The two mobile numbers are there. Friends, just made a call because most of times I'm busy. And second number is the WhatsApp number. Even if you sending me, but make a call, we can discuss. I will whatever guidance is required to within my reach of knowledge, I can also extend to you. Thank you very much for all of you for listening to the presentation.
Thank you,
Thank
sir,
you
for
thank you the TRD team for
Thank you,
timely
sir.
coordination. And I think today there is no disturbance at all.
No,
Thank
sir.
you very
No
much, sir.
disturbance at all.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for your time. And we look forward to
Okay.
many such sessions in future, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Thank
We
you
are
so much,
ending the
sir.
session now.
आया आप देखोगे स्पॉन्सरशिप वाले बिल में इसका भी हमने